All right. Welcome to our Getting Started webinar. Tonight's webinar, we will be reviewing basically getting started. We're going to go over the page ladder, um, how to get things set up there, how to set up staff, how to assign page fonts, and then setting up your ReplayIt account, which is a separate image sharing site that is connected to MemoryBook Online. That way, you can collect as many photos from the community as you can to, you know, hopefully put into your yearbook. So any of the information that we're going to go over tonight um, is within the MemoryBook Online manual under the design and creation. So if you've got your yearbook kit, it'll have a pretty decently thick coil bound manual in there. Just flip to that design and creation section, and there is the manual for the MemoryBook Online program. So where we're going to start off tonight is I'm just here at the memorybook.com homepage. We're on our company website. So a quick way to get or access to MemoryBook Online is right here up at the top. We have the MemoryBook Online login. If you click on this link, it is going to bring us to the homepage here. Another easy way to get this is if you just go to www.memoryebooks, and that's plural, so E-B-O-O-K-S, so memory E and then B-O-O-K-S.com. But like I said, just if you real quick way here is right off the company website, just click that, you're there as well. So when logging in here for this year, going to go under 2024, you're going to use the login information that was provided by your rep. Usually your job number is probably going to start with an 8. When it comes to usernames, when first starting off, when you get your email information from your rep, you are given 2 default passwords or 2 default sets of login information. One is the advisor login information, and that is your unrestricted all-encompassing login. So if you are the sole person working on this yearbook, or that heading a yearbook staff, that is the one for you. The staff login that you're given, that is a limited role login. So it doesn't give anyone not going under that login, it doesn't give you all access to all areas of the program. So that one's usually great for um, student staff, or even if you have a PTO committee and maybe you want someone that's like, yeah, I want them to upload photos and work on pages, but really not getting to certain other aspects of the job. That's a good one. If you need general help, that staff login is the best way to go. So after you get, and I'll just go in with that, we're going to go in with the advisor. When you're putting in that advisor, make sure you put an E in there instead of O. Could be spelled either way, but yeah, just to use the E, that'll get you in. And then we're going to put in our password here. So that'd be something if I forgot my own password. Speaking of which, forgetting your own password. So if you do forget that, there is a link that is down here, right under the Let's Go button. If you click on this, what is linked to this, it'll bring you to a screen. It'll put you in job year, job number, your username. So that would be, either advisor. So if it's advisor, put that in, and the email address that we've set up for you that's on there, you'll get that password link sent to that. This can also be used for when you set up staff, and if you set them up their own login, you can put in their email address. We've had questions before about, well, what about with younger staff? Or I have a yearbook staff that consists of 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders. They don't have email addresses. What do you do in that case? And we'll come back to it, and I'll show you that. But it's usually suggested just put in, if you are the teacher or the advisor, put in your email address. That way, if they forget their password, they hit that. you get that notification and you can help your staff member, your student, get their password changed, get back in there. So I'm going to go in a different way here. All right. So once you are logged in, get everything loaded up here. Once you are logged in, you are then come to the dashboard here. So a few things kind of at a glance here while you're looking around the dashboard. There is a due date countdown. I don't have one set on mine. But when you get into your account, you'll have like a little countdown clock here, and that's based on your submit date when you need to get your pages turned in. Coming over, total pages, total pages, but it's at a glance of the status, and it'll show you kind of the status colors that we have here. So anything that's in red, whoop, that's not started. Yellow's in progress. Completed is in green, and then submitted pages will then have a black, will be shown in black. And these colors here will also, when we get to the page ladder, you'll see these colors here too that correspond. Upcoming events, when you get into your accounts, your jobs, you will see things, like when you need to submit your cover, when you need to submit your class photos, in upcoming events that we set here. Moving over, there is the task tab. So what this can be used for, if you want to, if you have a yearbook staff, here, I'm just going to go ahead and click on it here. What tasks are something you can set up within your yearbook staff, or maybe you want to just set something up to help you stay on track. If you're the sole advisor, maybe make a task, and that way you keep yourself on track of working on the book and help you kind of stay keep the progress going, and that way you get everything submitted on time and everything, or assign these out to students. So what these are, if we come over here on this task tab, hit the little plus here, we can make a name for any task. So I mean, it'd be create candid pages, or maybe it's create 5th grade class pages or class photo pages, or maybe it is organize class photos. So you can use as many tasks. You set up the tasks here, just anything you can kind of think of for your committee, your staff or yourself. Assign it to. You can leave these unassigned. So if you're just working on your book yourself, you can leave it unassigned. You can still assign it to yourself. If you have set up staff logins, because you can create, we give you the 2 default logins, but from there, here in a little bit, I'll show you how to set up additional ones. But once you have those set up, you can use those to assign tasks to, to the advisor, and then you have a calendar here. You can set dates. Hit add. So no tasks is successfully saved. So good way to keep things on track here. So I'm going to go back to, let's see, where were we at? We were right there. Oh, to get back to the dashboard, if you ever leave through that area, if you're in here, you can click on home. If you're in other areas of the program, the quickest way to ever get back to that dashboard is just click on our logo in the upper left here, and that'll take you right back to this page if you need to get back here. So going over the last 2 little modules that are here, there's tagged images. So as you are uploading photos, candids and that, and if you need to tag them to keep track of them, this is just kind of an at glance to say, show you, oh, I've got one untagged image. I can go into that. If I click the little 3 dot here, I can then click on this, jump into the image library, go find out where that image is to tag it. And then the last one is just keeping track of images, and that as well. It'll be, what your staff uploaded, what's total uploaded, what we've uploaded will all kind of show here. So here's the dashboard, and just kind of an at glance. and setting up your tasks. From here, we're on getting started and setting things up. We're going to move under plan drop down here. Now, one thing I'm going to do here real quick is now when a window, like just in the program window, is all the way out like this, all these menus will show. However, if I shrink my window here, however, if we shrink down to a certain size, your top bar will look like this, and you have a little 3 dash lines here. That will be where you can also get to your menus. So if you ever get into the program and you're like, oh no, I lost my menus, or I can't, or if you call in to us here in tech support and we say, hey, click on this, and you're not seeing those menus, look for this little 3 lines here, and then that's where we go. But it all has to do on how wide your window is there. So I'm going to go under plan, and we're going to go on page slider here. So if you are just getting started with Memory Book Company this year, you'll look at this, and this is our page ladder. But if you are returning, for for those that are returning, maybe returning, this is just kind of a big change to everybody. So we did kind of overhaul and give our page ladder area a new look over the summer and for the 2024 season. It used to be kind of more narrowed down to where kind of 2 pages in a column going down and the single 1 page here. This kind of opens it up to see more of the pages. They're still by the spreads that they are. The previews are larger, so you can see here, you can have more of a quicker way to see, oh, that is what this page is. This is what I'm building here. Just if you're one that goes off previews. Now, a lot of things have changed as far as how you add information. Last year, next to these pages, there was areas to fill in section and description information. This year, section and description information is handled over here. On the left-hand side, you'll see sections and topics. So what we'll do under each one of these, so sections, if we go to here, sections would be your main areas of the book. So candid pages, class pages, maybe you have faculty, maybe you have sports pages, things like that, big events. You can either type these in here. Now, if you start to type something, you'll then get a list of suggestions. Now, one thing I like to do is if I hit backspace here, then I actually can see a whole big grouping more of different sections. But you can type in your own sections here too. And let's see, academics divider, what's something? I'll just put school events. So if I type in school events, if I want to add that to my sections, I'll then hit the little plus, and I'll add that here. If you need to edit any of your sections, there's a little edit pencil here. You can either delete them or edit the name on them. And off to the side here, you'll notice when you go under sections, you'll see that there's little counters, and this is going to let you know how many pages you have that applied to. Now, to assign sections, once you have these set up, all that you have to do here is actually just drag and drop these over to the page, and then they'll take care. Let me change that because that was already set to faculty. So I'm going to drop PTA on here, and we'll now see right above the page, here's the section drop down. So if we come to these pages around here, they'll say no section. So you can, once you assign them, let's say that, oh, I put the wrong section on it. You can do one or two things. You can just drag the correct section over, or you can use this little drop down to choose from all the other sections that you've already done. Now, once you have your sections kind of in place, and again, when you're doing sections and topics, these are not mandatory. It doesn't have anything. It's not a stipulation on creating your pages. Um, so don't think it's a mandatory thing that you have to do. These tools do is just help with organization. Um, keeping either you or helping your staff kind of stay on track on how you want the book to look at the end. So once you have sections, if you want to add topics, then topics would then kind of be breaking down what's under those sections. So again, you can start to type something in here, and you'll have sections, kind of suggestions come up here. You can also kind of backspace, and then you'll see that there's lots of suggestions. Now, a lot of those suggestions are over here under Smart Topics. So if we click on this, there are tons and tons of little topics that you can do. Just on my demo here, I've kind of pulled the like 5th grade. So if you were doing candid pages, like I have a section here, candid pages, and maybe I want those to be 5th grade candid pages. So I'm going to bring my topic over. So now here's where we can kind of get, specific. So, okay, we know our section is class pages. This is going to be a class candid page. Okay, I'm going to make it 5th grade. And that's what, a lot of these are. And again, there's counters, let you know how many times those have been used. So go over, I've used that one a couple times. I actually added it to both pages there. But so again, section descriptions, while that was information that used to be off the side, that's over here now. And once you add those in and applying them is just by dragging and dropping them over to the page. Now another thing, when you get here's something we're kind of showing in reverse, but it's kind of after you have your um, staff login set up. This is also here if you come to the staff tab and you have your staff set up. You can then your staff can assign staff to a page just in the same manner. You're just dragging and dropping over. And one thing, you can only have 2 students assigned to a page at the same time, or up to 2. You don't have to have 2, but you can have up to 2 assigned at the same time. Um, normally, when working on a book with a big staff, what we kind of suggest is when you're assigning the pages, or that typically assign the full spread to one student. What can happen is if you have one student assigned to one side and another assigned to the right, um, and they both have it up in facing pages, which is both of them together, they could run into save errors. Um, Whoever saves first, basically their work claims the page, and the other person working on the other side, they won't be able to save, but they'll be able to save their page as a template to apply at a later time. So just to kind of avoid save errors or staff frustration or anything like that, um, usually best to assign one student to a whole spread. Now, you may have situations where that's not possible. In the event of that, um, the easy solution there is once you get into the page designer, have each student, and I'll show you here real quick. So if I'm just going to go onto a spread, um, if you click on a page in the page ladder, it's going to take you to that page in the designer. Um, so when switching your page views here, when you're in the designer, they'll just come up to the view menu, and down at the bottom of view, set to facing pages, but you'll have each student set to single page. Once there's each student on that spread has a single page, neither one's saved changes will affect the other. Your saved is only affected on the page that is up. So again, when possible, if you can keep them assigned to one full spread, awesome. And we understand there's going to be situations where you got a page open and it's like, you know what, I'm going to assign it to a different student. but that's what that's for. Just make sure that they set up to single page, and that should avoid any save errors on that. All right, so we've gone over the look of the page ladder, how to do sections, topics, and assign staff, and just setting them up. And staff will be set up once you set up your staff, and a lot of it's dragging and dropping. One last thing before I leave this area is down here below. It's back on that home page where we're seeing those status colors. Those also show right here as well at the very bottom of the page. So red is not started, yellow is in progress, um, green is completed here. Let's see, we did assigning staff. Oh, some other things that you'll come to this area for. I guess we're not leaving here just yet. Um, so when kind of looking around the page ladder, some other things that you can do here. Um, Very most important, I don't even think I really mentioned this yet. If you're returning, if you're a brand new customer, maybe you're an advisor that's taking over, you're a first year advisor on a school that's been with us. Maybe you want to get a little bit of a jump start, or maybe this is totally new. You've never done anything like this before. What's the best way to get started? And I probably should have let off of this, is right up here is the start with last year button. What this will do, start with last year. It's, if you're a returning customer, um, you had an account with us last year. If you click start with last year, it's going to bring over the layouts from last year and load them into the page. And it'll look much like this right here. They'll bring them over, um, and it's the base layout that comes over. So photos are taken out and text is reverted back to just a filler type. Um, Now, what does come over is not anything, if you load this and you're like, maybe I want to do my own thing or that. It's not anything when you bring it over. It's not anything that's set in stone. Um, so when you're here, if I go onto just any one of these pages, this just happens to be layout that came over from last year. So the photos were taken all out. Each of my text boxes, the text here reverted back just to filler, but still to show you that there's a text box here. So you can add your own type in. Um, oh, hey, I did get a question. Good question in the chat here. I'm going to bring this in real quick. Um, I did my school's book 2 years ago. Is there any way to start with that? Um, yes, that is possible. It's just if you want email into tech support, we kind of have to manually sync it to that back account because your account is automatically linked to the previous year. Um, so I mean, if the previous year still does have a lot of the stuff you used, great, we can forward that. But if you are needing us to link to 22, just send us an email. Um, just put that in an email request to us, and we can do that for you. Now, one thing I do want to mention on when you do the start with last year, it's usually best to do that right off the get-go. Um, if there are pages in progress, which are you've already started something on them, when layouts carry over, it will skip pages in progress. So what you've already worked on or started working on will stay. It is honored. Um, so I just want to give you a heads up on that. So just make sure if you're getting in, make sure this is probably one of the first things that you do. Um, and like I said, once it's in, and I think I forgot to show that part. Once that's in, you've loaded. Like I said, it's not anything that's set in stone. So I can come here onto the page, select and highlight everything, and delete it right off, and I can drop um, another template or build however I want. Okay. Um, so there we are with the ladder getting started. So really it's just your planning area and there's the page ladder is really your planning and your main access to your pages there. So moving under plan, um, we're going to go here to staff. Um, so this is where you go to set up your additional staff logins. Um, I've already added a name here. So you start with a default advisor and then a default staff login here. Once you start setting up your individual student logins, we kind of suggest coming over here because you can make logins active and inactive. So you might just make the default one inactive. That way it'll make the students have to use this one, their one that you set up for them. Or let's say that you have certain people, like maybe I've seen before, like a yearbook advisor had, the first part of this, the fall semester, um, they had one set of kids, and then on spring had a different set. So what they did is she set the first, she had the first group set up, came in and set up the second group, but then went back and made their logins in that, the first group inactive. So that way, that their part of the project was done. They couldn't come back and tamper with anything or anything like that. So you can make logins inactive or active, just with that. To set up a new login, just up here at the top, you'll hit Add Staff, put in that person's first and last name. You can give them then a unique username. So, we're gonna name a guy Bob Berry. And a lot of times when we see usernames set up, it's usually some kind of combination of, someone's first initial, last name, or opposite of that, you'll set up username, set up a password for them. So on the passwords, they're a minimum of 10 characters. It needs an upper, a lowercase, and a number. So then you'll make sure that they match. Here under this email spot, here, this is what I was talking about earlier, the forgot your password link. That's where this gets input at. It's optional. It doesn't have to have one. But if you do have a staff, if you have a middle school or high school staff, sometimes they have email addresses, they'll use that. And just what this is used for is the forgot my password link there. And then you'll come down and select a role. So the main three that we deal with are advisor, editor, and staff. Um, Business manager is not anything that we have functional to us at this time. Um, Again, advisor, that's if maybe you've got someone that you're working on this, maybe you have a co-chair. Maybe you're someone that's PTA volunteered, you bring in a bring in um, someone that's helping you out. They need the same access level as you. You can set them up as advisor. Again, staff is your lowest tier, your lowest access. Staff can work on pages, can upload images, can organize images in the library. They can't delete images though. Um, Staff can lock pages, but they can't unlock them. So the advisor can lock and unlock pages. The advisor is also the only one that can delete images in the program. So a student may be able to delete an image off a page, but they won't be able to delete it from the library. So there's comfort in that. Editor is just it's kind of almost like a staff role that has just a few extra spots that it can get to. I believe the editor can get to where they can't delete images still, but they can help with moving pages and adjusting content of the book as well. So this would be for maybe that one student that maybe gets the program just a little bit better than everybody, or maybe that's your tried and true helper um, to help. So if you have somebody you want to put that, you can make them the editor. and then go from there. And once you hit save, they'll add to your list here. Um, and that's all you have to do for staff. Now, another thing that we have here is view activity in email. So email, like if you had that email address on, you wanted to send a whole message to your yearbook team, that's a quick way to get message out. View activity, if you ever want to see what's kind of going on, it keeps a kind of kind of basic history of who's doing what. A practice page was created, this page ladder was saved, this was unassigned, things like that you'll find here. But yeah, that is the staff area. So moving on from staff, what we also have is fonts. Now, actually, when we're looking at this plan dropdown, advisors will see everything here, like page ladder, staff, fonts, styles, ReplayIt. If you're in as a staff person, you're only going to see page ladder here. So these staff, fonts, styles, and ReplayIt, these are all advisor functions here. So then under fonts, this is where we're going to go and activate anything from our font collection here. So if you click on a font, it's going to preview it off to the side. If you then, here, which one did I, Albert. So then if you hit active, it's then going to activate. And one thing I will mention, when you are activating fonts, sometimes it may not look like you did activate it. Especially if you're scrolled down quite far in the list, what happens is once you immediately activate a font, it jumps right to the top of the list. So sorry here, I was just kind of reading that question that came in on the chat. Once you start, I can fit that in now. It's once you start adding content to the page ladder, are you able to change the page order? Yeah, you can actually change the order at any time here. So back under plan and page ladder, if you go to page mover, so you can actually write off the, even after you loaded last year's designs or anything like that, you're then good to start moving things around at any time. So whether you have, started working on your pages or not. So good question though. So yeah, is one dependent on the other? No, you can, once you load your stuff, you need to change the order of things, go for it. So that was fonts. Sorry, sorry to break away the question, but that was a good question. Um, Now, adding fonts, like I said, is just click deactivate and they jump to the top here. Normally, we suggest not using more than 20 fonts when, if you're looking for consistency or a nice tie through the book, maybe, using, a handful of fonts there. But that's just a recommendation. So, if the more the merrier, if you want to have a different font for every kind of candid page, go for it, Um, let's see. All right, so moving from here, we're then going to go from fonts. I'm going to skip over styles, but what styles are basically styles are setting up how your text boxes. You start with 5 main styles here, but these are when you drag text boxes over the page, they start as one of these styles. Um, so you can come in here and you can add more styles to the fonts that you've added to your collection. And right lastly under plan here is ReplayIt. So ReplayIt, what this is a separate photo uploading site that is connected to your Memory Book Online account. Now I already have mine set up, but when you go into yours, what you'll see here is you'll have just these 2 date boxes that'll be empty, and you'll have 2 empty check boxes here. You'll start off, it'll say, do you want to have a site for parents, for others to use? You're going going to check that box. Then it's going to give you a start date and an end date. When putting in your start date, you can put that in as, the current date that you want to get going on it, or, even if the day you set it up, you can set it at that day's date. That way you want to test it. When putting in your dates, um, this area is kind of picky. So you'll want to put it in just exactly like the date format shows. Year, dash, then 2-digit month, dash, 2-digit day. So if it's, anywhere, from the 1st to the 9th, you're going to put 01 to or 0, to 09. When you're setting up your end date, um, make sure that, if it's going past or past the new year, make sure you're setting that end date as 2024. Um, what will happen on the setup? So after you get everything put in here, and there's the last little checkbox, you'll click on this checkbox, and then from here it's just hitting save. Now, if you put in everything, you do your 2 checkboxes and you do your dates, hit save, and this area blanks out, um, then might take a look at the dates that were put in. First make sure if it blanks out, make sure you've got it in the format shown here. So make sure to use dashes and not slashes. Also make sure you have your end date correct. So if it's a date that's already passed, so if you were setting, say you were setting this up and this instead of 2024, you put 23, since July or June 30th is already passed, it'll blank this setup out. So just make, it's a real easy setup. Now, once you hit save and you've got this now, everything's set up correctly, you hit save, what you should see is you'll get a user ID for your site, but then you'll get this very important link that is right here. This link is a direct link. So if I click on it, it's a direct link into your upload site. So basically, anyone with the link, it bypasses the login screen, gets that parent or teacher or another student in the community that wants to contribute images, gets them right in there. Some questions asked about ReplayIt when setting us up. Can people see other people's photos that they've uploaded? No. This is just a one-way street. So if I hit choose files here, I'll just grab a photo here quick. So what it'll want me to do is that parent or whoever will put in their contact information, then they'll put in information for the photo. There's a little I agree, terms and conditions, and they'll hit upload. And that's it. So it's like a one-way street for those photos. So they can't see, no one can see what they're uploading. They can't see what others are uploading. The only one that gets to see that is the yearbook advisor. So if I clear out of here right now, back in the program, so photos coming in from ReplayIt, you'll go under create and then go to image library. Oh, and okay, here. I jumped around between too many tabs there. Okay, again, so to get to those ReplayIt images, you'll go under create, go into image library, and at the top here, the advisor will see inbox ReplayIt. This is only the advisor can see this here. Staff, anyone logged in with staff or editors, I don't think editor can see that. So editor staff is only going to see inbox staff. So this task, what can be done with them coming into the inbox ReplayIt, is how to help with sorting and getting those. Usually it's just setting up a folder under your images here. So it's, you have some sections here, got activity. So we'll go under activity, You start with some default folders. If I click the little arrow, you start with a few default folders. If you need to make your own, like I made one last time, it's replay it to sort. Um, so you can make, just a folder called sort images, hit OK. And as the advisor, once you move them into an activity, your staff has access to these. So then from here, your staff can then help sort them further. So I just wanted to show you really real quick, once you set up ReplayIt, you have parents email or, sending in photos this way. Just wanted to show you where you're going to be able to access them and how, you'll just from here, you'll have to sort them. You'll have to sort them to activity folders anyway, to be able to be used on pages. Now, if you're the loan advisor, you don't have to set up this extra folder. You can set up folders that you want and drag and drop to there. But if you're an advisor that needs the yearbook staff to help with that, make them just one big folder. You can drag and drop them to there, and then let the staff, help the sorting from there on. All right. So we have covered the page ladder, setting up logins, fonts, replay it. And from here, really the last thing that we'll kind of go over for today is kind of how to retrieve or be able to transfer material near the end of this project. So real quick, while I'm still here under the library, um, so if you have materials that were in your 2023 account that you'd like access to, so if you still have the login information, you're still able to log into that account and mark folders to carry forward and save layouts as templates. So if you didn't want to do the start year, maybe you have selected templates you use year to year. Here's kind of what you'll do on that. So on photos, so if you have your 2023 login information, you'll log in. Now, if you need that, again, contact your sales rep or contact here in tech support, and we'll get that out to you. But to mark folder, what you'll do is you'll basically go into that account, find the folder that you want to carry forward, and there's a little button up here that'll have a year on it. So in the 2023 account, I'll have 2024. I'm here in a 2024 account. So if I want photos to go forward to 2025, so this can also help with setting yourself up for next year, kind of pre-hand. You'll go into the account, you'll find the folder that you want, you'll select it, and toggle this little year button that's up here. And that's all you have to do. So with this folder right here, if once my 2025 account is created, next year, um, this folder will automatically carry over to that. Now those will show up under a spot. So folders marked from last year will actually show up, and here you'll see a My 2023 Images spot. So if you get into your 2023, you have a folder that you marked. It'll show up under this area. And I'll tell you what, I am going to go into my 2023 job for that year real quick, just to show you what that kind of looks like. Here. So I didn't have any other, but I had a folder. Let's see, I need a folder of images here. Okay, I'll just do activity candidates. So I've got my 2024 button. So I've marked that. And that's all I have to do here. So if I go back and I then, assuming I'm logging out of 2023, I'm logging back into 2024. When I come back into my 2024 library here, I'm going to see now under my 2023 images spot, I have folders called activity candidates. So that's that folder that I marked to carry forward. Now to use any images that carried over from last year, all you have to do here is from this folder under here, drag them, drop them to any one of your current folders. Then you'll be able to use them on your pages. Now for pages, so if I'm going to go, actually I'm going to go under create, I'm going to go into the page ladder here. So if you have a particular layout in any one of your 2023 pages that you want to carry forward to your next account, all you have to do is while you're in that account, go onto the page. Now, with the page submitted, you won't be able to make any changes to it, but you'll still be able to save it as a template. To do that, you'll just go to File and hit Save as Template. You'll then give it a name. Let's see here. I'm just going to name it Cool Class Page. That could be maybe 5th grade class page or anything like that. So once you get a name in there, you then select a site. So you could be, do you want the whole, was this a whole spread? Do you want this whole thing? Do you want just the left page, the right page? In this case, I'm going to take this as maybe this is a whole class spread that I've done. So my class photos will be here, and this is all the candidates out of that classroom. And I'm going to hit save. So then in that account, so when templates save, they'll always, within the current account they're in, they're always going to save under My Templates. That'll be here. Now, anything that is in My Templates carries forward to the next account. So if you saved something in 23 that carries over, it'll actually, under your Designs tab, you'll actually have a folder called My 2023 Templates. And these are going to be where any templates that you saved in your last year's account, or maybe you just went into 2023 just to find layouts that you needed and save them, they'll carry over. They'll be right here in this spot. Now they only carry over to this 1 year. So if you do have a specific template that you like to keep using year after year, what we suggest to do there is once you have it carried over from the previous year, drop it back onto one of your current pages, go under and do the same File, Save as Template. It'll then save under My Templates, and then it'll carry forward to that next account. So it's kind of a continuing thing. If you want to keep certain templates year to year, bring them on the pages, just kind of save them as a template again, and that way they'll keep rolling forward each year for you. All right. So the last thing I actually have for you is just before we kind of open this up for any questions, kind of getting ready for the next webinar, which is our Working with Portraits. Now is a good time as we start getting school photographers coming into the classrooms and you're getting class photos done. Just when you get those class photos, a lot of these days they're coming from emails from your links from your photographer. Rarely ever do we see CDs anymore. So if you did get a CD of your class photos, contact your sales rep and they can send you out a padded envelope to send that in on. It'll have a portrait form on there. Now, when you're emailing in your class photos, what you'll do is once you get that email from your photographer, normally you can just take that and forward that same email to your sales rep. And then they will, but you'll need to let them know if you would like your class photos sorted by grade level, which is everybody lumped in one grade, first grades in one folder, kindergartens in one folder, so on, or by teacher homeroom, which is broken down individually more like by class, like Mrs. Johnson, Mrs. Smith, Mrs. Anderson. Now, when we upload your class photos using your photographer's index, assuming everything's going to set up correctly there, photos are going to pull in to those categories, and the names associated with those photos will be tagged to the images all at one time. So we do encourage you to send that in, and we get that uploaded. Now, another advantage of sending in your class photos, we uploading them, and it brings in that class list into your program. It'll help with tagging photos. So that way, because all those names are already there, you now have easy to, oh, this is Billy, this is Susie, this is Emily. You can quickly use those names and tag them to photos. But yeah, that's kind of all I had as far as getting started and getting things set up. Um, so at this time, I got a few minutes here. I can open this. If you have any questions, you want to unmute yourself and ask a question, go for it. If you have, or if you want to put it in the chat, and I just read it out to everybody and then go over it, we could do that too. So, okay, good one. Is there a way to upload many images at once as the advisor instead of each individually? Wow. Okay. Good question. So for those of you here, it's basically uploading images. Like, what do you do? Your If you have direct access to the program, what you'll do is with your candidates and activities, you'll basically just come into the image library. Like I said, you do have those default folders, but if you need to make more, just select activity and then make a category name here. You can make as many categories as you need for all the different events that you have. Maybe you have, if you're elementary and junior high, maybe you can split those up, different kind of categories, but just as many as you need, you'll make those up. And then you can, when you hit the category, select it, you'll just come over here and hit upload. If you got a window open to the side, you can drag and drop them in, or you can hit the upload images button. Navigate to where those are on your computer. If you have these in a Google Drive, you can connect to that Google Drive. Um, and we'll go, you click the drive and you can select your photos. Now, when uploading photos, it's not one, if you do it this way, you can upload multiple images at a time, but there's some factors that come into play, but there's an upload limit of 25 megabytes per upload. So depending on your size of your photos, if they're coming off of certain cameras, they could be really huge. So that could be like 5 to 10. Others we see, depending on if it's set up, 15 to 20 at a time. Other things that come into play with uploading is what type of internet connection you have, what type of um, your internet speed, basically. So you're got strong signal or wired, connected with a wired connection as opposed to wireless. If you have kick and internet speed, uploading should go pretty smooth. Um, where it can get kind of rocky is Wi-Fi with kind of medium to not so strong signal. That way, sometimes in certain things like that, you can see only maybe one or two images kind of struggle to upload. But yeah, no, here, definitely come here to upload multiple images if you have direct access. We make corrections to our class photo after you receive them. Do you send a mock-up for us to check names? I guess I'm not understanding that question.
Okay,
So like,
can you hear me?
yeah, I
Can you
can
hear
hear you.
me?
Yeah.
Okay, so you said that the photo company will send us like an email or CD, and then we send it to you. But when do we check like if the names match the picture and all that stuff?
Oh, and we're going to show this more in our next webinar, working with
Oh, okay.
portraits. But just it's here in the library. Once it's uploaded, you'll be able to see your class photos, and then check uh, check
Okay.
here basically. Um, there's a way you can actually come up here and do if you do select a category. If your class photos come in categories, you'll select that, hit preview. it can give you a little composite list here that you can print out and send out to your classroom teachers and have them help you with that task of double checking names and that. But no, very good. I understand with that one.
Thank you.
Yep. All right. Um, let's see. Let me scroll down here. I don't think I have any others. So, okay. All I do have just about 8 o'clock. Normally we say this goes about 30 minutes, and I have about doubled that on that time. So appreciate everyone hanging around this long. Very good material. Hope you guys, got good feel of how to get started, kind of using your page ladder, getting things set up for your staff or for yourself. Um, I think we're going to go ahead and sign off for the evening. So um, thank you very much for joining us this evening. And we hope this webinar has helped, helped in, getting started process going, and not feel so overwhelming as you're doing this. So here, not next week, but the week after, we are going to be doing our Working with Portraits webinar. And that is, we're going to basically touch up right here on class photos, what to do once you get them, how to do composite sheets, um, or then how you make corrections to their names. And then at the end of that webinar, we're going to show you how to take those whole categories and use our flow function to put those into a template all at one time. So appreciate everybody. Thank you. Hope you have a great rest of your evening, and we will see you later.